I'm really excited to talk to you about the fifth dimension. I don't think a lot of people are talking about this, although you could probably look it up on YouTube and find a few things. But I've been kind of going through it alone myself. And so, of course, I've been looking around to find out what is going on. This is so crazy and weird. All these strange things are happening, and I don't know what to make of it. And I'm sure if it's happening to me, it's also happening to a lot of you and a lot of people, and they don't know what's going on, but we all know that things are changing quite a bit. So we're going to talk about the fifth dimensional being, and that's all of us. We are human beings ascending from 3D to 5D now. We're moving from that 3D to 5D and going into enlightenment that we all hear about. And so I'm going to shed a little bit of light on it in a general sense, and also share some of my personal experiences in the hope that it will uplift and inspire and empower you, and also validate your experiences if you're having them now too, which you probably are since you're drawn to this class. Just a little bit about me. I know you've been in class before, but I'm a spirit medium now. I've progressed a little bit in my spirituality, thank goodness. I'm a masterful manifester, which means I know how to make my dreams come true. And I teach a lot of manifesting classes too. I have a master's in counseling psychology, which means I'm here to support you in your journey. I'm a spiritual empowerment coach. I'm here to help you step into your spiritual power so that you can manifest the kind of life that you want, and to understand these ascension symptoms that we're starting to have. I'm the inspirational author of 4 books, and I'll share those with you at the end of the presentation briefly. I'm also a contributor to Chicken Soup for the Soul books, and I'm here to educate you, to uplift and empower you, as I said before. So that's all about me. So let's talk about all the religions of the world first. What are we all believing now? Because really everything in humanity and on earth is a belief system. And we see so many different belief systems. We kind of wonder, well, what the heck? What am I supposed to believe here? And spirituality is really your direct experience with your source, your creator, God, the universal love energy, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. And here you see a lot of different religions. And honestly, they all teach the same thing, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so much of that has to do with the fact that we are all connected. We are all one. So what we do to others, we're really actually doing it to ourselves. So that's why it's so important to be kind, to walk around with love in your heart and send that out to other people. So we are not talking about religion tonight. Anything that you believe in is absolutely fine with me. I believe in everything. I really do. And we're going to talk about spirituality, and that's you. So spirituality is not a religion. Being spiritual just means that you are in touch with your own divine self. That is the eternal spiritual side of you that's going to live on beyond death. Someone asked me, what is your religion? I said, all the paths that lead to the light. I really like that. Or my religion is love and kindness, because that speaks louder than a lot of dogma for me. Consciousness, what is that? It has no religion, no belief or ideology, no gender, no sexuality, no race, no age, and no nationality. It is just being aware, being alive. You are consciousness. Your beliefs are powerful. Anything you want to believe in is what you're going to experience. And that's why I teach us about changing our thoughts so that we can change our reality. But that's a whole nother class. So let's take a look down in the green fourth density existence. This is really important because this is pretty much where we are now. We're checking out ourselves as a spirit, because for so long we just thought we were, flesh and bone, this physical person that I know as myself as Carolyn, that you know as yourself. And we didn't really look any further. Well, now we are. We're looking a lot deeper. We're looking at life after death. We're transitioning from our ego-based reality to love. We know we're having spiritual awakenings. There's a consciousness expansion, deeper, wider, farther than we ever thought we could be, right? And we're purging our negative emotions and belief systems because they aren't working for us anymore. We're realizing the self is not a body, it's a spirit. We see physical changes happening as our mind, soul, and spirit change. Our physicality will change as well, because mind over matter, Energy always follows thought. So, if you think yourself thin, basically you can get your body where you want it to go. I've been thinking myself fat, I think, or something. I don't know. Just joking. So physical changes, tapping into the collective consciousness. Now, what is the collective consciousness? It's all of us put together. Imagine all the spirits who have ever lived, who are living, and who will ever live. That's all of us. Okay. That's the collective. So as you're evolving, you're going to have increased telepathy. You're going to have out of body experiences. You're going to see yourself as a spiritual being. You might start doing soul traveling in your dreams at night as you sleep and wake up and go, wow, where was I? You might feel a little jolt, and that's your spirit coming back into your body because it really was flying around the cosmos. Okay. So you might have more psychic abilities. You're going to trust your gut more. You'll have more intuition. Things will kind of start unfolding kind of magically for you as you increase your spirituality. And you'll realize that something is changing, not just in you, but in the world and the people around you, the people you choose to be with, maybe people you've known a really long time. You just no longer feel like you're on the same frequency. And in order for you to grow, you have to leave some people behind. So unfortunately, that is the case a lot of the time. So that's the fourth density existence, fourth dimension, 4D. Okay, now look up at the blue if you haven't already, and that's our fifth density existence. This is where we are now, a lot of us. Not everybody, but a lot of us are changing now into being more egoless and being more of service to others. I look at you and I see myself in you. I can walk in your shoes. I can have compassion and empathy for you. So I'm going to treat you well the way I would want to be treated, right? So our actions are based on love. And that's unconditional love. Like you might not like some of their behavior at all, but you love the person. You love who they are, their spirit. Okay. We practice ongoing gratitude because it makes us feel better. It's so simple to just wake up and appreciate what we have right now instead of always wanting something. Although it's okay to want, I'm just saying being grateful for what you have actually brings in more of what you want. We become self realized. And what that means for me is just realizing what I came to earth to do, which is basically teach and write books and sing and uplift the vibration around me of people that come to me for this purpose. I don't have to heal everyone. I can't save anyone. All I can do is share my own experience. So I feel like I have realized who I am and what I'm here to do. And it's very joyful. Fearlessness. So, when I left Minnesota and my family long ago, my grandma was like, oh my God, you're going to San Diego. What are you going to do? They were all so scared. And I'm thinking, why am I scared? I got my angels, I got my spirit guides, I got God, my dream team in spirit, my high vibe tribe, my dream team, they're all there. I'll be completely fine. She was, well, what are you going to do out there? And I said, whatever God wants me to. And by golly, I just followed my gut and my nudges and everything worked out. So we become more fearless when we see ourselves as spirit. We're going to live forever, you guys. We're eternal beings. Who you are now, you've probably lived 1,000 other lives before this, and you might live another 1,000. I don't really know. Okay. I know I've lived hundreds of lives. I can remember some of them too. So, which is awesome. So I know that if I'm reincarnating, so is everybody else. Okay. Because I'm not special. I'm just a common Jane walking around the earth doing my little thing. So we realize there's no limits. Really, the only limits we have are our own, what we think about. So if I think I can't do something, then I can't. But the minute I say, hey, maybe I can, that opens up a world of possibilities. And that's where all the good starts coming in. Sometimes I've seen people who are ascending have a less dense body, like they almost look like they're becoming a spirit on the screen. And I've seen this with David R. Hawkins, who's taught and written a lot of awesome books like Power versus Force and consciousness books and things like that. And I was watching him and he just looked all wispy, kind of like a little ghost, but he was still here in body. So as we lighten up, literally, we're raising our vibration and becoming more of our spiritual selves and integrating our spirit with our physical body. And then we're able to do those things in the physical world that we want to do. So in the fifth D, we are more unity minded. In other words, we think about what's best for everyone. We want a world that works for everyone. Okay. We're hurt when we see other people hurt. When we see war, we're literally heartsick. We take that on as our family is being hurt on the other side of the world. So we're very unity minded. It's not all me, me, me. Okay. It's we. We recognize self as part of the whole. Just me, my tiny little self, my little drop in the ocean. That's me. But I'm important, just like you are. We may be small, but we're mighty, right? And especially when we all get together and start doing the work that we came here to do, we're very powerful as spirits. So manifesting is easier. I can attest to that. It certainly is. The more we go with the flow and surrender and invite our guides and angels to come in and help us, the easier things get. Duality in linear time dissolves. So, in other words, we can go back in time as spirit. We can see who we were in past lives, in dreams, in hypnosis, meditation. You can go back in time, see who you were. You can go back in this life and look at things. You can go forward into future possibilities. I mean, there is no time in spirit. You can shift around all over the place, and it's amazing. So, if you ever get a chance to do a group hypnosis session, I highly recommend it. It's very healing. It only brings forth the past lives that are going to help you in this current life. Okay. And that's really the reason we do it, is just to help us move forward. So the only time we have is right now. And I'm very grateful to have you with me right now. I love teaching. And this is all we have going forward and now. Everything in the past is already done. We can't change what we've already manifested, right? But going forward now, we can manifest something new and different that we would like to have. Like for me, I'm in Arizona right now. And soon I'm going to be moving up to the redwoods in California. So now my mind has shifted way over there. I'm already there in my mind, kind of like looking for my new campsite, blah, 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 going through the details, even though physically I'm still here and enjoying my reality at this point. So that's kind of how we manifest, is by sending out our thoughts to where we want to go and really making that strong so that that comes in for us. Okay. Anything we have now is old news. And really, once you get into the 5D, and I've noticed this with myself, I'm not going to say there's no need for possessions or status, but because of course we got to eat and, sleep in a bed and that kind of thing. But I've just noticed I don't need a lot of stuff anymore. I've gotten rid of everything. I live in an RV, which is 30 feet long, and I think it's 8 feet wide. And I'm perfectly satisfied with this. And it's odd because I've had the big houses and all the stuff and everything. And it just didn't make me happy. So, once we get into more of a spiritual mode, we just live simply. We don't need it, all that. And I don't need status. I don't need to run around and tell everybody what I'm doing. In fact, hardly anybody in this lot even knows what I do. I'm kind of behind the scenes doing my work. So, it doesn't matter, because fame doesn't matter. It's fleeting. What's real is true love and unconditional love. So there's your difference between the fourth and the fifth. And we're going to go into that a little more too. Okay. So here we really break it down. I don't know where to put that, so it's out of the way. Anyway, so let's take a look at the major differences between 3D and 5D consciousness. And now when I say D, I'm talking about dimensions, because the earth has different dimensions. Now, when I say 3D, I'm talking about height, width, and depth. Okay, that's physics right there. Okay, now when we go to 5D, we're talking about moving beyond those 3 dimensions and into 5 dimensions, which is above space and time. We're above the timeline and we're actually zooming out into space, which is actually inner space. And I don't know if you've felt like you've been flying through the universe, or you've seen some crazy, wild, beautiful colors or sacred geometry while you were out there, planets, other beings, other galactic beings. Your loved ones in spirit may be there to talk with you. You might meet your spirit guides. You might see your angels or other beings of light. And it's very exciting. So this is our expansion out into space and time, like we said, going back in time, forward in time, that kind of thing. So as a spirit, you have the power to do all of these things. Okay, it's amazing. So in 3D, we're still ego-based identity. I am me. This is me. It's all about me, right? 5D is soul-based identity. I am a spirit. I will live forever. My relationships are forever. They matter. Okay. I am a soul. I'm going to keep growing and learning and being and serving and doing what I came here to do. Okay. It's a whole different mindset because, ego based identity, that could be gimme, gimme, gimme. I'm a thief. I'm going to steal. I'm going to do whatever I want to do for myself. Right. It's all about the self. But as a soul, we know that when we pass, we literally do a life review, and everything that we did to another person, we're going to feel that. And so we know that in 5D. And so we don't want to do those things to other people. We want to give them love and leave them with a blessing of some kind. Okay. So it's a very different mindset. The separation consciousness versus the unity consciousness. Again, a lot of times we might be feeling really lonely, especially in the winter when you don't get out as much. And, we can feel like we're all alone in the world. But in 5D consciousness, with the unity consciousness, especially connecting with our guides and spirits on the other side, which has been great sustenance for me, I don't feel so alone. I know that they're watching over me. I can connect with them. I know them by name now, which I didn't a year ago. So, I mean, we just keep growing. It never ends. That's why it's so exciting. You graduate from one school of thought, and the next thing you know, you're starting all over in a new one, and it's mind blowing. So, we just keep on going. In 3D, it's conditional love. I'll love you if you quit smoking. I'll love you if you don't drink. I'll love you if you do this for me. That doesn't really work. We don't want to be loved conditionally, do we? No. We all want unconditional love. We want to be loved for the spirits that we are. And that's what we think about in 5D. It's just loving everybody because they're alive, because they're a spirit, and life is sacred and beautiful and important, and every life has meaning. We know this in 5D, and it's so much deeper than any of us could ever imagine. The path that we all choose when we come here is very deep. It's multi-layered. There's no way another person can know how unique your path is any more than you can know what their path is and the lessons that they came here to learn. Okay. But so we can love each other for the journey that we're all on together. Man believes he is a victim in 3D, but in 5D, he believes he co creates his reality. And that's something I teach a lot of the time because I've been fortunate enough to learn this a long time ago and practice, practice, practice to the point where I pretty much can have whatever I want if I focus on it. And so can you. So please come back and take the manifesting class and abundance class if you haven't already. Seeing is believing. Everybody, I got to see it before I can prove it. Well, how do you prove reincarnation? We're starting to, but a lot of people are just like, no, I don't want to listen to all that foo foo stuff. I got to see it. Well, in 5D, believing is seeing. As soon as you believe in angels, you start seeing them, right? Because you're not going to see them if you don't believe in them. Once you believe in that you have spirit guides or loved ones in spirit that want to help you, you might start seeing them or feeling them or knowing they're there with you. So go ahead and believe in everything. You can believe in dragons and mermaids and fairies. They're all out there. Everything is possible. Why not? Logical thinking. Now, I've never been very good at that, but I know a lot of mathematicians are, and maybe you have a good logical mind too. And if you do, I praise you for that because I don't. Um, and that changes into more of an intuitive thinking. So I've had to switch out of my mind and more into my knowing. It's claircognizance, so that when something comes up like a problem, I'm not going to sit there and go through every little detail. I got to figure it all out. I got to figure it all out, because that doesn't work for me personally. I have to say, okay, what feels like the best solution to this? And basically the answer will come, and I might use tarot cards, or I might even flip a coin, or I'll pray about it and get an answer in the morning. It's a more of an intuitive process rather than a mental one. And I hope that makes sense. It probably does. Seeing duality, the two opposing forces like good and evil. Now, isn't that the theme of just about every movie we see? But here in 5D, we see only one force, and that's all of us. and always acting towards our highest good. That's like the hierarchy of angels, archangels. I mean, there's hierarchies in everything. But really, what they say in the angelic realms is there is no hierarchy. We just have different jobs. I like that. We just all have different jobs and everyone is equal. And there's one force that holds us all together. In physical, it's dense energy manifestations are slowed down. Sometimes we're glad they slow down because if we're having a negative day, we certainly wouldn't want instant manifestations, would we? So it's kind of a thing where you need to focus on what you want over time. And then maybe 3 days later, it might pop up like that unexpectedly in a way you didn't think it would. So I love that. But now, as you move towards your 5D self, your spirit self that knows all of this already, but just forgot, now your higher energy vibe and you have more instant manifestations because your energy is so high and it matches all these good things that you want, and it has to come in with the law of attraction. So you'll benefit greatly by practicing your 5D consciousness because of the manifestations giving you more of what you want. Now, this one is super important. The mind rules in 3D. We all want to be smart and intelligent and figure everything out, but in 5D, what I hear from all of the, I don't know what to call them, I guess the wise ones on the other side from mediumship classes and channeling, is that the heart rules. And I don't know if you've encountered any aliens or read about aliens. They don't like to be called aliens, they like to be called galactics. But they all teach that the heart rules, especially the Pleiadians, who are a much higher evolved race or species than we are. But they're here to help us do it, make the shift to 5D. So our heart rules, not our mind. So our mind wants to judge everything. You meet people and we're always judging and discerning. But in 5D, I just go out into the world with love in my heart for everyone, and not all of them are safe. Honestly, I know that. I can see pretty much their level of their spirituality just from their vibe or how they look or whatever, from their eyes twinkling or not, or the light around their head or not. So, and it doesn't matter because all it really matters is that I keep my heart open and loving. They can do whatever they want because if my vibe is high, it's going to change what's in front of me. It really will. If someone's having a bad day, but I come in with this, happy go lucky, great, I love you kind of feeling, they're going to change their attitude too. Go, ooh, what's this? What's going on? It's going to shift them out of that mood. So we're only going to bring in positive, good things when we're having positive and good thoughts and feelings. And so we want to think more from our heart. What would our heart do in this situation? Man fears chaos, randomness, and unfairness, of course, but man believes in divine order in 5D, where everything happens for the highest good. So it might look horrendous from a human aspect, but in spirit, your angels are applauding, going, look what you went through and look how good you did. You came through hardship and trauma and loss. Look at you go. Woo! Because you're learning all these soul lessons, even though you feel like you want to die as a human being, so we all go through a lot. I'm no exception. So also the scarcity mindset, never enough. I'm not enough. I don't have enough, blah, blah. We've all been through that kind of thinking because that's what the earth teaches us. But in our spiritual aspect, our 5D consciousness, we have an abundance mindset where everything's possible, anything's possible, and we can attract what we want. So that's pretty much the breakdown between 3D and 5D. And we'll go into that a little bit more, but I hope you can see the difference going from your physicality basically to your spiritual self, which is very powerful. All right. I don't know why I got all these empties in here. So you are not a drop in the bucket. Oh no, you are the ocean in a droplet. I just love that. I think that's Rami, or is it Rumi? So a quick overall view of the ego-based versus soul-based thinking. So ego-based is your individual physical self. The ego is the part that wants to think it is better than others. That's that ego is not my amigo. The physical part of you that is unique and different and separate from others and seeks its own needs and desires, often at the expense of others and even oneself, right? Very self defeating. Power and control, me, versus community based, us, we, ours, all, everyone. So we all benefit from that when it's in soul based thinking. So, the eternal essence of you that lives forever is your soul based self. The part of you that leaves the body upon your death and becomes the eternal spirit you were before you entered this lifetime with all the added knowledge you have acquired. You know you are one of the billions of life forms, and we are all connected and equal. You live to help others and to evolve your soul. You do unto others as you would have them do unto you, so you don't create any bad karma for yourself. No bad karma. You see beneath the surface of people to their true essence. You look deep into their eyes and see who they are. Okay. They might be someone you knew in a past life and you just feel like you've known them forever. And trust that feeling with that person. And also, if you're with someone and you feel a little off or it feels a little weird for some reason, trust that too, because that's also your solar plexus intuition letting you know this person isn't safe. So think more with your heart and your spirit and your gut, rather than all of this up here, because that can lead us to problems. It can be false. We can believe lies that people say, but your intuition always knows the truth. So imagine what 7 billion humans, are we to 8 yet? I don't know, could accomplish if we all loved and respected each other. Imagine. That's from A.D. Williams. I really love that. We talked about separation versus unity. Separateness sees only the physical, the borders of nations, right? We have all this talk about the wall and immigration, the separateness of states and cities, distrust of others who are different. Oh no, separate but equal or separate and unequal. Oh, separation of the races, genders, class, socioeconomic. This is all separation. The wealthy and the homeless have nothing in common. Yes, they do. They're all human. Supremacy of one's own group. We're the best. College, race, nation, culture, wealth, power, church, right? It's just ours. Nobody else's. Yeah. I met a lady last week who said these people weren't going to go to heaven unless they were saved. And I said, no, they're there too. She kind of looked at me like, what? I'm like, yeah, they're there too. Unity is based on spiritual connections between all beings, human or otherwise. We won't go into that yet. It's kind of a leap. Respect for all life. Unity accepts all cultures, no borders, a global perspective, inclusion of gays, transgendered people, all ages, all races, psychics and mediums. That bum on the street could be me. Empathy, compassion for others. I already said empathy, but it's so important we have to say it twice. Building community to evolve. I could be wealthy or homeless, but I'm still me. You know, we're talking about the inner being of me and the inner being of you. Whether you have money or no money, you're still you, right? No matter you do this job or that job, you're still you. And you're going to be you in your next life, and you're going to be you in your last life, and nothing can change you. You're a unique spirit. It's here forever. I think that's just so amazing, don't you? Some of these special effects are not what I hoped. There it is. Okay, unity holds the worth of all living beings as sacred and profound. I cannot say that enough, how much we are so sacred and profound, each one of us. So important. And we don't often realize that till we go into the spirit world and feel the love that's there for us. And I thought, wow, if they can love all of us that much, we must be okay. So worthy, 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 worthy. If you don't remember anything else about this class, please, please remember how worthy you are and how much you're loved on the other side and here. We are all loved equally and always as eternal beings. So, that's something you can take with you on a dark day. If nobody's there to hug you, hug yourself and remind yourself that you're an amazing spiritual being. Love is misinterpreted as an emotion. In reality, it is a state of consciousness, a way of being in the world, a way of seeing oneself and others. There's my hero, Dr. David R. Hawkins, amazing guy. So basically, you can choose when you walk out the door tomorrow morning whether you want to be filled with love or fear or anger. I mean, you really get to decide. And what I've been told is that we can actually create love with anyone just by being loving and nurturing to them. And, they may not return it, and that's okay. Because when you're giving the love, you're feeling the love in your own heart. So you're not just doing it for them, you're doing it for you because it feels so good to love. And if you're alone, you can just love yourself. That feels good too. So, as we're coming up on Valentine's Day in about a week here, conditional love or unconditional love. Any thought of love uplifts the vibration of the universe. That's how powerful love is. That's from Marianne Williamson from Discover Your Aura. So imagine something or someone you love right now, a person, a child, a pet, maybe your flower, anything that's there that you love, and feel how good that feels to love. Like right now, I'm loving my cat. There she is. She's so pretty. And I tell her all the time, oh, I love you. I love you. And she just looks at me and goes, like, I love you too, Mom. It's so great. So love is eternal and ageless. Love is a choice that we make. It's a choice we make every day. Albert Einstein said, do not grow old no matter how long you live. Never cease to stand like curious children before the great mystery into which we were born. Life is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a mystery, a discovery, a journey, an adventure. Look at all these folks. And I love this because you got all 4 generations kissing, and it's unconditional love. They just love each other. Okay. These are the couples you see that have been married for 60 years and they're still in love with each other. Okay. Nothing can change about that. It's just there forever. And a lot of times these people were soulmates in a life prior to this. And that's why they say, oh, it was love at first sight, or we got married within 2 weeks and we've been together for 40 years. That kind of thing happens a lot. It really does. And so, sometimes we just have to wait and be patient for that person to come into our lives because maybe we're not ready for them yet, or they're not ready for us. It's a lot of times it's been prearranged before you were born, when you were in spirit world planning your life lessons, and they said, oh, well, he'll show up when you're 63. You're like, 63? But at least they'll show up. So, and that goes for gay couples as well. I want to be inclusive here, but this was the picture I had for everybody. So yeah, kind of fun to look at. So, I've often felt like a victim of circumstance until I remembered who I really am, which is a co-creator with God and a masterful manifester, as you are as well. It's just a matter of practice. And now we can take responsibility for choices and behavior. Now, I once left a guy who I was dating for 2 years because all he did was complain about his job, and for a while I was being polite, but then I was like, wait a minute, you think you're going to change anything over there? You're not. You can accept it, you can change it, or you can leave it. Those are your 3 choices, really. He's still there 10 years later. I mean, he just never left, and he's still grumbling about the place. So, I mean, he's not taking responsibility for his choices and behavior, and we can choose to be miserable if we want to, but that's no fun. I'd rather be a powerful co-creator, wouldn't you? Than a victim of everybody else's behavior? Mm-mm. If we're with people who aren't treating us well, we're the other half of that equation. We've chosen to stay with that until we know better or we raise our vibration, and they'll just automatically spiral right out of our lives if our vibration is high, because we have to attract like attracts like. So when you raise your vibration, now you're going to attract other beings at that vibration. And the ones that aren't growing with you spiritually, they just kind of fall off the track, So we want to keep growing so we can keep bringing in all that wonderful unconditional love with each other. Okay. So you are the CEO of your own life. And I really mean that. I've been self-employed a lot in my life and I've struggled also. So I mean, it's not always been super easy here, but I've always knew that I had choices, and my dad told me you can do whatever you put your mind to. And I really believe that you can, but you got to believe in it. That's all there is to it. That faith is so powerful. So I have the power and responsibility to direct my own thoughts. Through them, I create the things and experiences in my life. Now imagine knowing that. How powerful would we have been if we knew this in grade school? Oh boy, that'd be scary. I don't know if you've seen the movie Matilda, but yeah, she was able to move things around. The energy you give off based on your beliefs, your emotions, your behavior, the vibrational frequency you give off is what determines the kind of reality experience you have. Because physical reality doesn't exist except as a reflection of what you most strongly believe is true for you. That is all that physical reality is. It is literally like a mirror. And I can attest to this day in and day out. If I'm not in the best mood and I go out into the world, things don't really work out that well because I'm such a powerful manifester now that I really have to keep my thoughts of a high vibrational nature for things to work out for me, and they do. But if I'm feeling a little grumpy or I've had some, bumps, I guess Esther Hicks would call it contrast in our lives. It makes us realize what we do want when we know what we don't want. So really, I have to think about gratitude, appreciation, love, what I want, not what bugs me. Because if I think too much about what bugs me, I'm going to get so much more of what bugs me. That's the universe saying, yes, bring me this thing I do not want, because your thoughts are like magnets. So please know that and practice your positivity wherever you can. Look at this cute little baby. Create. You are the creator of your own universes. What is this stuff in the way? Oops. Sorry, guys. Anyway, she's just saying that you can create what you want with your beliefs. That's how powerful you are as a spiritual being. Seeing is believing, or is believing seeing? Well, I think you already know that believing is seeing. The age of believing is over. Now in 5D, we're in the age of knowing, just knowing. Sometimes you know things and you don't know how you know them, but you know them. And it's so weird because just the other night, I admit I played some bingo and I was in one of those relaxed, receptive modes, and I kept looking at the number that right before he called it. It was so weird. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I was in that letting go, receptive, kind of tired mood of just, it was like the last game of the bingo, where you're kind of tired. And I'd be looking at B9, and then all of a sudden you say B9. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was happening over and over and over. So I just knew, I knew, and I knew. I don't know how I knew, but I did. But then when I tried to do it with my mind, it never worked. It never worked that way. It only worked when I was letting go and allowing the universe to let me know. It was so strange because I could really feel the difference. So when we talk about dimensions, third and fifth and that and so on, they're not really places or locations. They're levels of consciousness that vibrate at a certain rate. So each dimension vibrates at a higher rate than the one below. So you got this one, and then you got this one, and it's almost like a musical scale. Okay. And there's a more clear, wider perspective of reality as we go up. Now, think about the hawk flying above the canopy of the trees and the view that that hawk would have looking down on Earth, compared to the ant that's going over a little anthill. And so we all have these different perspectives. And as a spirit, you are basically floating up on the clouds looking down. But then when you become a human being, your feet are on the ground and this is your perspective in reality. And then when you pass, you're going to go right back up into that beautiful spirit where we're all one again. And you'll feel that like you're part of the air. It's just beautiful. So there's a greater level of knowing each level. Like I say, the kindergartner and the high school and the college and the PhD, it's kind of the same thing, as we keep learning and evolving spiritually, but also know that God loves that kindergartner as much as the PhD. I mean, we're all absolutely loved equally, no matter what level we're at. And we can grow at our own pace. We can stand still. We can devolve. I mean, we can really, it's up to us. And I know I came here to ascend and I took on a lot because I was like, I can handle it. And then at times in my life, I was like, oh no, I can't. I can't handle it. But I got through it somehow. So, some of us come in and we take accelerated lives where we're going to learn a whole bunch of stuff. And then some of us come in and have more of a rest life where we just, we meet our soulmate right away. We have a home and healthy kids, and it's just easy or whatever it is that you wanted in this life. And you can have that too. But some of us are here to learn other things. So, and we don't know what each other's paths are. So that's why I don't judge, the alcoholic, um, the bum on the street, whoever. They're all learning their own lessons. And of course, I'm going to help them if they reach out for help. But I also have to know that they chose a lot of what they're going through, just like I chose my things that I went through. So, with that greater level of knowing, we're going to experience more freedom and a greater power and more opportunity to create reality. So, as soon as we identify something we don't want, we identify something we do want. Okay. So, most of us want more money, more love, friendship, fun. We're so really very similar, than more similar than different, all of us with our needs and wants. So, um, where was I going with that? Just that we're all one, I guess, and we all want the same things, a lot of us. So, okay, so logical versus intuitive thinking. So we got our brain over here and it needs to function, right? I mean, we got to do some basic math and we got to do our dishes and cook our food and go grocery shopping and do laundry. And we have to think about balancing our checkbook and all those good things come to us as human beings. And we do need that mind to do that. But as a spirit, we also have our intuitive thinking, and that's a much deeper level and more of an all encompassing level. Let's see what it says. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. So it is that still small voice within, and it is hard to hear sometimes. So that's why we have to get really, really quiet, silent, meditative, and just, if you can meditate for 20 minutes a day, you can get into that quiet space and let in a new idea or let in a solution to something that's been plaguing you for a long time that you couldn't figure out on your own because you're not supposed to. And you can ask for help, ask for help. Let them help you. It'll be so much easier. The only real valuable thing is intuition. And that was said by Albert Einstein, one of the greatest thinkers of our time. So a lot of his solutions were coming from a higher realm, which is amazing. Look within for your answers. They aren't out there. So, we talk about the universe out there and we put men on the moon and all of that. But really, if you go into your deep meditation, you're going to find a lot of answers in there that you've been looking for. And from my experience, when we ask, the universe always answers. And it might take a little time, but watch for signs. If you have a question, bring it out and watch how the universe knocks itself out to give you an answer or to guide you to a certain thing. And just trust your nudges and perceptions. It's really important that you trust your inner self, your intuitive mind. So don't ignore your intuition just because it's telling you something you don't want to hear. I've learned the hard way. If I don't go with the nudges, something I don't want usually happens. So, also, I've noticed that when it's telling me turn here or go there or do this, something amazing always happens. So, um, why not throw up my little human ego to open up to more of that, spiritual wisdom? Because now I've got the world. I mean, to help me. So it's like before the internet was here, we had to look in what encyclopedias, right? And now, if we want to know something, we just we Google it out there, and boom, we got all these hits, and we can learn and research anything. It's kind of the same with this. You know, you bring it up to your guides and say, "Hey, can you help me with this? What should I do about that?" Or I've been thinking about this, and then watch the license plates that come in front of you, or watch letters or numbers that show up, or words that you overhear, or I mean, there can be so many different signs in the way the universe tries to get the message to you. And if you think it was a message for you, it was a message for you. It can be very subtle. Okay, so please listen to your intuition. Your journey won't be the same as anyone else's, and so don't let the world tell you how it's supposed to look. Okay, we don't want to live by society's standards so much as we want to live by our own spiritual standards, by our own spiritual codes and moral codes and principles. Okay, those are really important, you know, because if you turn on the news, you're going to see murders and rapes and political junk and stuff that makes you feel bad, really. I mean, I was in the gym this morning and the TV was on, and just, you know, a couple headlines, and I'm like, turn it off. I just want to listen to my music or my inspirational tapes or something, you know, but not that. So, you know, you can operate from your own inner self and your own power and not be subject to all the stuff in the world that's so low vibe. Okay. Because you've grown beyond that or you wouldn't be here. All right. Probably already know all that. Duality versus oneness. So seeing duality like two opposing forces, like good and evil, up and down, hot and cold, win or lose, seeing only the one force always acting for our highest good. So, you know, I've had things happen to me that as a human being would feel devastating. Okay. So, you know, I come home to my apartment. This was, gosh, a long time ago now, 5 years ago, probably. And I came home to my apartment, and my boyfriend had moved out and didn't tell me. He just left. He was so afraid of ghosts and mediumship and everything. He didn't believe in it. And so he left. And at first I was kind of devastated because, you know, I'm just looking around my apartment thinking I got robbed or something because the stuff was gone. But then I saw the letter on the table. So I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. You know, my heart hurt, of course, I'm human. But then I went, I'm sure he did me a huge favor because, you know, when something leaves our lives, it's for a reason. And I deserved better. I deserve someone who gets the spiritual part of me and likes my books and believes in my books and likes my classes, you know, not somebody's like, oh, I don't believe in that, or poo poos it, or even criticizes it. Not that I can't take criticism, because I have taken a lot of criticism, but it's fine, you know. But with your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, spouse, you know, people you choose to spend your life with, your best friends, they ought to know you for your spirit, right? So I think it's really important that we try to look at the long view, you know, take that hawk's view above the timeline and look at the entire lifespan and what this little blip there is. And it's really just a jumping off point to a new set of choices, really. And after that, it was pretty awesome because I ended up moving to Hawaii and everything. It's really cool. So, you know, it might be devastating in the moment, but I always try to look at the bigger picture, and things always get better. They really do. Once we start looking for the good that's there. When you replace, why is this happening to me, with what is this trying to teach me, everything shifts. So remember that we're here to learn lessons. We're here to be happy and enjoy our lives and take the love with us. So everything, every bit of love that you create here, you take with you. It grows. Okay. So when you go back into the spirit world and you've created love here, it's bigger than it was before. I mean, that's so awesome. Everything is working out perfectly. I trust that the universe is bringing me all that I need. And I really believe that now. It's hard at first. We get these little miracles and then we think, oh, they'll never happen again. And then another miracle happens. Oh, well, maybe it will happen again. Gosh, I wonder if it'll happen again. And then another miracle happens, and we're like, oh my gosh, all I have to do is think about these things and they show up. How cool is that? Right. And before you know it, you become a miracle maker and you're starting to understand what they're talking about, and it's happening for you. And it can. I mean, and then all those smaller miracles build and you have bigger and bigger miracles coming all the time. And then you realize your power and then you're unstoppable. So we are energy and energy never dies. Isn't that wonderful to know? It just changes form. And I can totally attest to this 100%. Being a spirit medium, I see where they go, I see where they are. And, they're brilliant, beautiful colors and light beings, and they're happy and they're in their heavens doing what they want to do. And I know that that's where I'm going to. So why would I be afraid of death? If I know how wonderful heaven is, why would I be afraid? And I'm not saying heaven in the sense of some kind of religion that I was taught. It's not that at all. It's my own personal direct experience of being there during meditation or hypnosis or contemplation. um, Visions in the morning when you first wake up can sometimes just come zooming in right before you awaken. And it's really important to write those things down that you're seeing, light beings or words written out or numbers or a feeling or a dream. Or soul travel, you feel like, oh gosh, I feel like I've been working all night long. Well, you probably were. So think about that, all the messages that you're getting in your spirit body. I love this wrestler guy. So we're talking too about dense energy in 3D versus the higher energy in 5D. And as I was speaking to you about those experiences that you might be having or will have, um, the spiritual bodies are much lighter, as you can see. Now that's like an angel, and she looks like she's just all lit up. She's very light and airy, and she's flying above. And that's what a lot of those energies look like. Like when an angel comes into your consciousness, it's not like a person, it's more like a light energy that comes in from above that just kind of comes down and descends. And you'll feel incredible peace and love when they're there. You might smell amazing flowers like honeysuckle or jasmine. Or you might hear angels singing. I mean, that's when you're getting into these really high vibrational realms, and it's very airy, just like you see this woman here. Okay. So I'm just kind of giving you a heads up on what you might experience as you're moving into the 5D. I don't want you to be afraid of it because it really is a natural progression for human beings. This is our natural state, actually. Coming into body is not our home or our natural state. The spirit is. And I'm going to show you some more of these. Let's get that down. So going out into the cosmos at night in your dreams, you might see these stars, lots of stars and light beams, pinpoints of light, bands of light, colors and rainbows, different things like that. You might see angels, more than one. Sometimes they're circling around you, above you. You might see staircases, clouds and lights. So these higher energies are lighter, vibrating at a higher frequency. And how do we connect with this? Because boy, it is really fun to go there. Here came up. And that's the experience of a man having some of these lighter energies around. Okay. Like orbs, or flickers of light. It might look like a firefly. Or you might hear things like when I first started connecting, I heard whooshes in my ear, like the ocean, like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Or now when I hear my ascension guys, they sound like a very high pitched tone, almost like a bell ringing, but it's very high pitched. And I'll hear them come into my right ear now. And so I know they're there. And it might be a subtle feeling like, a light feeling on your cheek or a little kiss or a caress on your hair, or they all come in different ways. My grandmother, Grace, comes in making noise, like she knocks on things and bangs a little bit. I'll be like, hi, Grandma. I just know that that's her. I feel her and I've seen her too. And so you just can kind of tell how these different beings come in, and it gets weirder and weirder as we go forward. But that's just some clues as to what might be happening as you're moving into your 5D reality. So, how we connect with these higher vibrational beings is by raising our own vibration. And you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes a day. Unless you're too busy, then you should sit for an hour. I love that old Zen saying. I can do 20 minutes a day, and it's just a real intentional quietness of I'll go in my bed and lay down with my head propped up and just close my eyes and allow whatever's going to come in to come in. And I have to shut off all my thoughts and be like a blank satellite receiver, okay? And just see what messages come in, or visions, sounds, vibrations. Sometimes you might feel your own vibration in your chest going, boom, 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 boom. That's you vibrating, okay? And then they might come in and vibrate with you. Now, when I talk about your spirit guides, these are your besties. Okay, there's nothing to be afraid of. We're not talking about ghosts here. We're talking about your loved ones in spirit, your friends, your family, neighbors, coworkers you loved, but people that love you and you love them. It could have been in this life or past lives. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean you even know them in this life, but you chose them to watch over you before you came into this life. So we're talking about your spirit guides, you have joy guides, you have a main spiritual advisor, you have a master teacher, okay? You have ascension guides that are helping you move into 5D. All those loved ones in spirit, you have angels, your main guardian angel, and other angels that help you. I mean, there are so many people of spirits basically out there that are there to help you, but you have to ask. They will not interfere with your free will. They honor your free will, okay? And they're here to help you because you are the leading edge right now. Your spiritual growth and everything is very important to them. You know, they can't assist you from the other side unless you're saying, okay, come on in, I need your help. And so, how do we do that? For me, I can sit out by nature in a park. That's me on the left. Or just sitting with some candles lit, maybe some nice white sage burning. That clears a lot of energies. I love the smell of it too. Or Palo Santo candles that clear the energy. You can go out in nature. Um, whatever makes you feel calm and comfortable and at peace. And just sit for a little while and just say, yeah, if there's someone in spirit you'd like to connect with, ask them, you know, where are you now? What are you doing? And, we look for people here, but they're gone. So we got to look for them where they are now, which is in spirit. And a lot of times they'll show you where they are. I mean, it's pretty cool. And there's a lot of love there for you. And, we cut ourselves off from it if we're not meditating. So really, I encourage you just 20 minutes a day. That's all it takes. All right. So we talked about how the mind rules versus the heart rules. And I had this amazing experience at Lake Harriet Spiritual Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Gosh, this woman named Christine Day came and she spoke and she talked about the Pleiadians, which are higher level beings on another planet who are here to help us ascend. And they're all about the heart. I mean, that's all they talk about. And she did this amazing sound healing with her voice. And I mean, when she did this, it was so, oh, and I was in the audience and I felt like my heart was vibrating, like it was coming in this tone. And it was so powerful. I was changed after that. I went, this is real, because you could feel the Pleiadian energy coming through her and right into our hearts, like this huge love vibration. It was like, wow. And I became a believer at that moment because it was undeniable. So I understood what they were saying. And, I've had discouraging times in my life, and my guides would say, Carolyn, walk with a high head and a high heart. And I really like that, because I'm sure you've seen people walk down the street with their head down, or they're at the bus stop and their heads are down and they're in despair and depressed and down. And I just want to tell them, oh my gosh, there's a spiritual reality here. Don't let this human life get you down. Because I know if you're stuck in it, you really feel stuck in it. But there's such a better reality on the other side that I want to make known for people because there's so much hope there. So, don't let the mind take you down the gutter, basically. Let your heart rule and walk with a high heart and a high head and just, share your love with people, share your gifts because it's so important. The reason you're here is so important. Not only are you learning a lot, but you're also interacting with other people and helping them learn their lessons, kind of like the best supporting actor in their movie as well. So, we're all helping each other grow with our relationships. And so having a heart really matters. Like let's say somebody has Alzheimer's and the spouse takes care of them the last 10 years of their life. Well, once they go into spirit, they see all the wonderful things that spouse did for them, and their love and their heart just gets huge. And then when the spouse passes over, there they are, and they're like, "Oh, thank you for taking care of me." you know? So it's never wasted, is what I'm saying. Anything that you do that's kind for someone else, reaching out and helping them, especially if it's unexpected, like giving a girl some money because she's homeless, on this park lawn or something. She'll remember that forever, and you'll probably forget about it the next day. So just living from the heart, that's just a wonderful thing, especially here before Valentine's Day. I was going to say Thanksgiving. Pay attention to what is taking up your time and energy. Does it fill your heart and spirit with joy? If not, move on and step into what does. I don't know about you, but I've been in some pretty bad jobs early on. And I just kept moving because I'm like, I don't like this. I'll do this. Oh, I don't like that. I'll do this. And now, gosh, I'm doing exactly what I want to do and I'm thrilled. So, keep moving on. You can keep upgrading, updating, upgrading, ascending, changing, making new choices all the time. So, this is a little off track, but not really because it's a love language and we're talking a lot about love and the heart tonight. But the affirmation would be your coffee is delicious. But or you could just say, I really love what you do. You really did a great job on that or something. People like to hear that. An act of service. I made you coffee, or I can give you a ride, or would you like me to cook dinner tonight? Those are nice little love languages and they matter. These little things. Receiving gifts. Maybe that's your love language. Here's a coffee. How do you feel when someone hands you a coffee? It's like, oh, thanks. That's so nice. I had one of my boyfriends always took me to Starbucks and I just loved it every time. It was so sweet. Let's go get a coffee. And then physical touch is the fifth one. Let me hold you like a coffee. Oh, that's stretching it a little bit. But you get the idea. Just the physical touch. We all need to be hugged and hold hands. I got to say, when my daughter graduated from high school, I was a puddle. I was crying so hard. And my fiance at the time, all he did was hold my hand. And I just burst into tears. But he just sat and held my hand. And it meant so much to me at that time. So, look at what your love languages are. Do you want to be affirmed? Do you want service? Do you want to receive gifts? Do you want quality time with someone? Do you want to be touched and have that affection? Let people know what makes you feel loved, having time together. Maybe, someone giving you gifts isn't really your thing. For me, it really wasn't. And I had a boyfriend that loved to give me gifts. And, thank you, but it's not really my thing. I'd rather just spend quality time with you. So let's go get a coffee. There you go. And then doing those things for other people, of course, and asking them what their love languages are. That's important too. So what if we bless every soul we see? How would our world change? And honestly, if you do this in your mind, in your spirit, basically, you meet someone and you just silently bless them, or you're sending love to them, and you just do this with your energy, sending love to them, they are going to feel it. And they're not going to maybe know what happened, but they're going to feel like, oh, I like this person. And that's because you're radiating love to them. Okay. I can't tell you how important this is. Like when you're meeting new people or walking into a social situation, to just fill yourself with love, fill your heart with love, and walk in feeling like, I just want to love everyone. Okay. And the people that you're attracted to will find you and you'll find them. And, that's how you make your friends because you're on that same vibrational level. Right. And I have to say, as a professional singer, retired now, but I was walking into a group of a lot of people, and it was, could be frightening, right? That's one of the biggest fears in the world is public speaking. Well, how about public singing? But I honestly, every time I went out, I just said a prayer, please let me touch their hearts, minds, and souls and uplift them with music and, just thank you and bless them. And I just filled myself with love, and then I went out on stage and there was no fear because love overcomes fear. It's much more powerful. So it got rid of the stage fright, right? And I'm radiating love. It's coming out of my eyes, it's coming out of my voice, it's radiating from my heart, and they feel it. And these were seniors who a lot of them didn't feel very well. They're elderly. So it made their spirits rise. It really did. And so by the time the hour was over, they felt so much better. And I felt so much better because when you're radiating love, it's going out, it's coming back. It's just this beautiful exchange of energy, right? It's like this beautiful figure eight eternity symbol. And, you don't realize how much you touch other people. You really don't until later when you pass, or if you get a glimpse through meditation. And so I was sitting in my spiritualist church one day. Oh man, this is probably gonna make me cry. And I was sitting there, and it's one of those times in your life where you really felt alone, even though you're gifted and you know about all the spirits and stuff, you still feel kind of alone and challenged. And the teacher, the reverend, said, "Did you work in hospice?" And I go, "No." She goes, "There's 300 seniors here handing you roses and flowers and hearts, telling you they love you and that you made a difference in their life." Oh my God. I started crying and I felt like my heart was going to burst. I mean, all that love from these deceased seniors who I had at one time sung to or taken care of if they had Alzheimer's were coming back into that church to that medium to tell me how much they loved me. And I thought, and that's just this much. And it was almost going to make me explode. So think about how much love is there for you and every little thing that you've done for anyone in your entire life. Okay. The kid on the playground, somebody at school that you helped, anything, a kind word, it can mean so much to someone who might be feeling suicidal or in despair. And you can be that person, that's there to love them. And it can just be a look. You can walk down to a mall, everybody's grumbling and, but then they see this one friendly face that smiles at them and that makes their day, you know? So, yeah, that's how our world would change. And when you bless someone, they do feel it, they get it, their soul gets it. This is a super important chart here. Again, this is from our David R. Hawkins. He's a very high vibrational being here. And if you look at the bottom, you can see all these emotions that we go through as human beings. And we're all human and we've all had all of these, I'm pretty sure. And we can move up the scale. Okay, so look at 500, how high vibe that is. That is amazing. And we can conjure that up within ourselves. This isn't anything that has to come to us from the outside. I know in our culture, we're taught to go out and find love and find someone to love us. But honestly, if you could give yourself the love that you're seeking from other people, you'll be so full of love that you'll just want to give it out. Okay. And when it gets out there, it comes back. It's like this beautiful boomerang. So we can conjure up love and enthusiasm and happiness, positive expectation. Things are going to go well for me instead of worst case scenarios. And just have the belief in the good and the miracles, right? Now your vibe is at 500, and it's so much higher than anything down here. Okay. And we're going to feel those things. Obviously, we're human, but we can also move past them quickly if we replace them with some of these higher vibe things. And that means just going out and doing what you love, or staying home and doing what you love. Anything that makes you happy. You're cultivating your happiness. You're creating love in your heart. Okay. You don't need it from anyone else. You've got it in spirit and you've got it within your own soul. And that helps you find more joy, more peace. Enlightenment is going into 5D, which we all are now. And then every day, just appreciating what you have now, being grateful, appreciating your freedom and your spiritual empowerment, because you're very powerful. And then you can move into God consciousness at some point, where we all will be at some point. That's where we're all headed. So that's what we're supposed to do, is just keep growing and ascending and loving. It's really that simple and that difficult. Just got to keep working at it, right? All right. So we also, one of the last things up on the 5D chart that we looked at was humans fear chaos, randomness, and unfairness. Okay, we all think we can be easily victimized in the world because that's what we see on the news or on TV. But then in 5D, we just believe in that divine order, in a source that loves us, and that everything happens for the highest good of all, that we are protected and guided and guarded, and we can ask for that protection. When I leave the house in the morning, I put myself in a big white bubble of light, and it's just something I imagine around me, so that when I go out into the world, if there's any lower level entities that want to mess with me, be mischievous or whatever, they can't. So, and you can do this too, just by envisioning your protections, because when you're a powerful light worker, you are a target for some of the darker forces out there. And so you do want to protect yourself. And, I don't want to go into it too much because I don't like to pay them no mind. But at the same time, I want you to know that you have that power for protection and armor just by envisioning white light around you. Any thought of love uplifts the vibration of the universe. Think about that. Any little thought of love has that kind of an effect on the universe. Wow. I think that's amazing. So I like to ask, did I offer peace today? Did I bring a smile to someone's face? Did I say words of healing? Did I let go of my anger and resentment? Did I forgive? Did I love? These are the real questions. Henry Newen. I like that. Did I have fun today? Your angels and spirit guides are there to help you. Do you ask for their help? I hope you do. This is how your light changes the world. So you walk in all sunny with your nice white light, bright light around you for protection. They're going, who's that? And then they're saying, oh, she looks like someone I'd like to get to know. And now they're going to maybe let your light rub off on them a little bit. And now they're getting to know you. And they're like, oh, this is really positive. I like this. This lady feels really high vibe and comfy and nice and positive and good. And next thing you know, the whole room's lit up. So that's the power that you have when you're high vibe. It just radiates out and spreads. And then the one I love is everywhere. So, I mean, you can radiate your love back to the universe, to God, to source, to creator. I like to call it universal love energy. When you're feeling that love, you can just send it out to thank you for all my miracles. Thank you for anything that's going well. Pick anything and feel that love that's been coming into you. The universe wants everyone to live in abundance. Healing energy tools. I love that. And we're down to the bottom one now, I think. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters, right? So a lot of us were taught to be doers, get out there and make something happen. And now I'm realizing that it's more about just sitting and being peaceful and cultivating love, gratitude, and appreciation, right? Yeah, state of being. Your spirit is powerful beyond belief. So if you believe yourself to be super powerful, it's even more than that. It's unbelievable. I mean, I can't even believe it. I can't even imagine. Like the more I learn, the more I go, wow, there's even so much more. Oh my gosh. It just never ends. Abundance is not something we acquire, it is something we tune into. So just feeling abundant, sitting there and conjuring up what it would feel like to be abundant is what brings the abundance. Okay. It's pretty awesome. We thought it was work, but it's really more of a vibration. If all you did was just look for things to appreciate, you would live a joyous, spectacular life. If there was nothing else that you ever came to understand other than just look for things to appreciate, it's the only tool you would ever need to predominantly hook you up with who you really are. That's all you'd need. That's from Abraham Hicks. If you get a chance to listen to YouTube videos by Abraham Hicks, they're amazing and they will help you get into a high vibe state every time. Embrace your own expansion. You create your expansion. Okay. Questions. Oh, wow, that came up fast. So I'm going to have to unmute you guys and figure out how to do that. And there's our rainbow at the end of the journey. So, we're only going to be here for a short time and then we're gone. So that's that. The next class is how to raise your spiritual vibration. And that's my email address if you want to touch base and see the light in others and treat them as if that's all you see. That's Dr. Wayne Dyer. And these are my books. Don't know if you're into reading or not, but they're 14 fonts, so they're pretty easy to read. And they're just short, inspirational stories of spiritual adventures, things that happen along the way. There's 4 of them now. And then there's 2 Chicken Soup for the Soul books, Angels All Around, which is all stories about angels, and then Miracles and the Unexplainable, which is 101 stories of divine interventions and things like that. So that's pretty cool. So that's all I have. That's the end of that. Thank you so much for coming. And I don't think I know how to do anything else. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you got something out of that.
Thank you.